Hi guys, so today I will be explaining to you about the factored form. So let's do a review from our previous video, which was on vertex form. So as we learned before, the vertex form equation is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. We also learned that there are different parts of this equation. So k was the vertical translation, h was our horizontal translation, and a was our stretch or compression. We also learned about the step pattern, which for the base parabola, which is y equals x squared, was over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, and let's do one more, over 3, up 9. Okay, so now let's move on to factored form. So, as I said before, the vertex form had 3 different parts to it, and each of them had different meanings. We also learned that the vertex was given in the vertex form, which was h and k. The factored form equation is a little different. It is y equals x minus r and x minus s. Now, as you can see that this equation, the vertex is given, the stretch or compression is given, and we know that we solve it by using, we graph it by using the step pattern. But for this one, we are given r and s, and r and s basically are x-intercepts. So these are the 2 points that cross the x-axis when graphed. So let's do an example to further explain what the factored form is. So let's do y equals to x plus 2 and x minus 3. Okay, so over here, as I said before, we are given x-intercepts, and the vertex is not given. The only things that were given is the stretch or compression, which is over here. As you can see, when there is nothing over there, you assume it's a 1. And if there's a negative sign over here, then it's a negative 1. But there's nothing there, so we're going to assume it's a 1. So we know that this graph is going to be facing upwards. So it's going to be facing like this. And remember, if it was negative, it would be facing downward, so the opposite way. We're also given the x-intercepts, which are 2 and 3. But remember that everything in brackets is always the opposite, as we learned in the other video. So this positive 2 becomes a negative 2, and this negative 3 becomes a positive 3. But this is not the right way to write it. It's written like x equals to negative 2 and x equals to 3. That is how it's written for factored form. Now let's go ahead and graph it. And as I said before, I'm going to be doing a very rough graph to just show you how it's done. I apologize if you can't see, but I'll make it more clear after. Okay, so now let's plot the points that we already know. So, we already know our x-intercepts, which is negative 2 and positive 3. So let's go ahead and plot these. So positive 3 is over here, and negative 2 is over here. So now we already have the parabola's base. Now we have to find the minimum or maximum point, which is also the vertex and which is also the optimal value. But for a parabola like this, it's really different. For this one, we have to first find the axis of symmetry. Or in short form, you can write AOS. This is basically the middle point of the parabola. So the middle point of these two x-intercepts. It's written to find the axis of symmetry. You're basically adding r and s divided by 2. So in our case, we're adding negative 2 plus 3, and we're dividing it into two groups. So negative 2 plus 3 is 1, and 1 divided by 2 gives you 0.5. So now let's go ahead and find 0.5 on our graph, which is right here. So we're going to just make a dashed line in the middle to know that this is our AOS, and we're going to label it right here. So that's our AOS. So now we know the AOS, then we're one step closer to finding the vertex, because the vertex is always on the AOS. Is always on the AOS, because the AOS is its x-coordinate. So now that we have our AOS, we can sub in that with our equation. So our equation again was y equals to x plus 2 and x minus 3. And let's sub this in. So y equals to 0.5 plus 2 and 0.5 minus 3, which gives us 0.5 plus 2, 2.5, and 0.5 minus 3 gives us negative 2.5. And then all we have to do is multiply these two numbers. So we're going to do it. So 2.5 plus negative 2.5 gives us 2.5 multiplied by negative 2.5 gives us negative 6.25. So y equals to negative 6.25. That means we have already found our vertex. So remember, vertex is always on the AOS. AOS is 0.5. And then we have to find negative 6.25, which is around here. And there you go. We have our vertex. Now all we have to do is connect the lines. And there you go. We have our parabola. So now let's recap. The factored form equation is y equals x minus r and x minus s. In vertex form, we are given the vertex and we know the different parts. But for factored form, we're given the two x-intercepts, which is r, and s are two x-intercepts. To solve for the vertex, we have to first find the axis of symmetry, also known as AOS, which is basically r plus s divided by 2, or in our case, negative 2 plus 3 divided by 3, which gave us 0.5. So we made a dashed line on the graph, in the middle of the graph, which is our AOS, and we already found our x-coordinate for our vertex. To find the y-coordinate, we have to sub in 0.5, which was our AOS, into our equation. So y equals x plus 2, x minus 3 becomes y equals 0.5 plus 2 and 0.5 minus 3. After we add these numbers up, we multiply them by each other, and we got negative 6.25. Now we went to our graph, and we plotted negative 6.25 on our AOS, which is 0.5, and we got our vertex. So our vertex at the end was 0.5 and negative 6.25. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.